The stars above the planet Senkar blinked peacefully in the darkness of space. On the bridge of the alien dreadnought Votan's Glory, High Commander Drex stood tall, his golden armor shining under the cold lights. Around him, his officers laughed and spoke with pride. The War Council was complete. The target, Earth, a planet of weak flesh, one officer said. Just humans. They barely touch the stars. They still use metal ships, another mocked. No living tech. No mind links, no advanced thought. They are primitive. Drex raised a hand, silencing the room. Still, they fight hard. Brave for something so small. But bravery without strength is just noise. The aliens laughed again. It was true. Every record, every report, every sensor scan told the same story. Earth was loud, stubborn, and loud. Again, but in the grand balance of the galaxy, humanity was nothing but a spark. Bright for a moment, then gone. What they didn't know was this. Humans had gone silent, not weak, not afraid. Silent on the other side of the galaxy, deep beneath the mountains of Antarctica. Earth's High Command sat in silence. Screens blinked across the room. Dozens of officers stood around a central table where a digital map of the galaxy. Slowly rotated. General Riker leaned forward, his voice low. They think we're sleeping. Let them, whispered Admiral Vera, her eyes sharp. We've waited for this moment. Let them come. A young technician raised his hand. Signal intercepted, sir. The alien fleet is moving. Estimated. Arrival 96 hours. Riker nodded slowly. Then it begins. Across the Earth, silent alarms lit up secret military bases. In orbit, dark satellites powered up without making a sound. On the far side of the moon, something shifted beneath the dust. A massive hangar door slowly opened, revealing cold steel and glowing engines. The fleet was real. It had always been real, but no one had seen it. 3 years ago, after the first contact, humans had learned the hard way. The Galactic Union had ignored Earth. Then came the pirates, then the slavers, then the invaders. Humanity fought, lost, rebuilt, and learned. But they didn't cry for help. They didn't beg for mercy. Instead, they disappeared from the public eye. Earth pulled back, stopped answering transmissions, went dark, and now they were ready. On the alien ship, Drex stood at the front of the command deck. His voice echoed through the ship. Send the warning. Earth is to surrender all technology and leaders. If they refuse, we wipe them out, said his. Second in command with a cruel grin. Drex smiled. Exactly. Far away, a human pilot named Syrah climbed into her cockpit. She looked no different than any human brown eyes. Short black hair, scar above her left eyebrow. But behind those eyes burned fire. Fleet command to Ghost Squadron. A voice crackled in her ear. Ghost One, ready? Syrah replied. She placed her hand on a small panel. The lights in the cockpit glowed blue. Systems online. Weapons armed. Shields steady. As the hangar opened above her, she could see the stars again. But this time, she wasn't just looking at them. She was rising into them. High above Earth, in the black of space, something began to happen. A quiet hum, then a pulse, then a shape, and another. Hundreds, thousands, dark, angular ships came out of the shadows. They had been hidden inside asteroids, buried beneath moons, coded behind shielded energy signatures. But now they were here. No light, no noise, just movement. The human fleet had awakened. In space near the edge of the solar system, a small alien scout ship drifted, scanning frequencies. It picked up nothing, just silence. Then the sensors blinked. Once, twice, and suddenly, they were surrounded. Hundreds of unknown signatures filled the radar. Big ones, armed ones, The pilot's claws shook. "Command, this is Scout 7. You must respond. We've found something. They're not weak. I repeat, they're silence dot, then static dot, then nothing." Back on the alien dreadnought, Drex frowned. Scout 7 has gone dark. The officer shifted uncomfortably. "Send another," Drex ordered. But even he felt something strange. A chill. On Earth, General Riker gave a slow nod. "Let the galaxy mock. Let them laugh. Let them say we're just humans." He turned to the giant screen where Earth's armada now floated in orbit, glowing like 1,000 angry stars. "Soon, they'll see who we really are." The room fell. Silent dot outside, the sky was no longer dark dot, it was filled. Asterisk above the dark side of Mars, a single human vessel moved without a sound. Its surface reflected no light. Its engines left no trail. To the naked eye and most scanners, it did not exist. Inside, Commander Sierra of Ghost Squadron sat quietly in the cockpit. "Ghost 1 to command," she whispered. "We are in position." "Confirmed," a calm voice replied in her ear. "Remain silent. Wait for the signal." Sarah didn't move. She stared ahead at the nothingness, where soon everything would change. Far behind her, the alien fleet approached. Over 50 capital ships, hundreds of cruisers, thousands of drones. A wall of metal, energy, and arrogance dotted their leadship. The Veitan's glory. High Commander Drex watched the display screen as Earth's solar system grew closer. "Still no resistance?" he asked, bored. "None, sir," said his technician. "Earth's forces are not responding. No transmissions, no energy spikes." Drex leaned back in his chair, amused. "They've already given up." The room filled with laughter again. One officer added, "Maybe they finally understood who rules this galaxy." Drex smirked. About time. But not everyone on the ship was laughing. Lieutenant Var, a young comms officer, stared at his display. Something didn't feel right. "Commander," he said softly, "there's strange readings near Mars." Drex barely looked. "Static from solar flares. Ignore it." "But sir, it's patterned." "Like I said, ignore it," Drex snapped. Var looked back at the screen. The signals were faint. Barely even there. But they pulsed in rhythm. Like a heartbeat. Or a countdown dot below. In Earth's secret command center, General Riker stood before a giant holomap. Lights blinked slowly. Red markers approached Earth. "Admiral Vera," he said calmly. "Is Ghost Squadron in place?" "Yes, sir." Riker's voice was cold and steady. "Phase 1. Distraction." She nodded. Initiating now. High above. Deep in space, Sierra's fingers danced on her panel. With a single tap, she released a small swarm of decoys dot from nowhere. Dozens of fake energy signals burst across the system. Alien ships immediately locked on. Multiple hostiles detected. An alien officer shouted. "Where?" Drex barked. "Everywhere. Near the asteroid belt. Behind Saturn. Even behind us." Drex stood. "Deploy drones. Target all signatures." The fleet scattered. Their weapons lit the void. Explosions filled the darkness. But they were hitting nothing. Just empty space. Var stared at the chaos. "Sir, those were decoys. They're wasting ammo." Drex turned red with anger. "Find the source." But by the time his drones recalibrated, it was already too late. The real attack had begun. Just behind the alien fleet, space shimmered dot, then it cracked. Then they appeared. One by one, giant black ships emerged from cloaked orbit. Some looked like floating cities. Others like monstrous beasts, silent, cold, and deadly. Earth's hidden. Fleet had surrounded them without firing a single shot dot. No alarms had sounded. no warnings. The humans had been there all along. Syrah smirked from her cockpit. Ghost 1. To all units, the dance begins. From Earth's command center, Riker gave a single nod. Engage. Before the alien fleet could react, the first wave hit. Human EMP charges disabled entire wings of drones. Gravity bombs pulled cruisers in two. Their own engines. Railguns, silent and invisible, pierced shields and armor like paper. Alien ships exploded one after another, caught in a storm they couldn't even see. Drex's eyes widened as 3 of his capital ships vanished from his display. How? He whispered, "How are they?" And the lights on his ship flickered. The room darkened. His own systems were under attack. "Bring shields up." He yelled. "Shields are gone, sir. Weapons disabled. We've lost engine control." Drex slammed his fist on the panel. "What are we fighting?" From her ship, Syrah watched as fire lit the galaxy. "We were quiet for too long," she whispered. "Now they'll hear us scream." She turned sharply, diving between 2 alien cruisers, releasing precision missiles. The ships erupted behind her. One enemy tried to lock onto her. Too late. She vanished again into the void. Back on Earth, Riker stepped closer to the screen. Reports flashed across the display. Enemy ships retreating. Drone army neutralized. Phase 2 complete. Vera looked to him. "We move." "To Phase 3? Riker shook his head slowly. "No, let them speak first." In orbit, only a few alien ships remained, damaged and frightened. Drex stood frozen on his failing bridge, watching helplessly as Earth's ships floated all around them, perfectly still. No firing, no messages. Just presence, a presence stronger than any weapon. Var finally whispered, "They didn't want to destroy us. They just wanted us to see." Drex fell into his chair. Defeated. His words were soft, broken. "They're not just humans." He looked at the window. "They're shadows. They're ghosts, and they've already won." High above a distant gas giant called Trellin, the Galactic Council's citadel spun slowly in orbit. It was a massive structure, beautiful, peaceful, and proud. Inside, its halls were filled with light, polished stone, and the echo of ancient voices. But today, those voices were nervous. Representatives from 32 species sat around the circular chamber. Holograms of the destroyed alien fleet flickered in the center. Ships vanished, static screams. And at the center of it all, Earth. They came from nowhere. Shouted a tall, scaled diplomat from the Varun. The human fleet was undetectable. Said another, a feathered being with sharp eyes. That shouldn't be possible. They took out 70% of our armada without a warning shot. Cried one more. At the head of the chamber, High Speaker Kavar raised a hand. The chamber went silent. His voice was calm, but his eyes were troubled. "We laughed when they went silent. We ignored them when they stopped responding. But this was no cry for help. This was a warning." No one spoke. In Earth's underground command nexus, Admiral Vera reviewed the Council's intercepted transmissions. "They're scared," she said. Finally. General Riker stood beside her, watching the stream of Council messages. "Good," he said. "They should be." He turned to a large screen showing dozens of alien worlds, some now quiet, some now sending apologies. A few were still arrogant, but all of them were now paying attention. "They used to talk over us," Riker said. "Now they whisper behind closed doors." Far out in deep space, aboard a massive alien research station, Dr. Thalek of the Yulan race was reviewing data collected during the battle. He rewound the footage frame by frame. Human ships had moved faster than light should allow. Their weapons hit targets without delay. Their ships changed direction without inertia. It broke all known science. He stared at the screen, jaw tight. They broke physics. His assistant, smaller and nervous, asked, "Then how do we fight them?" Thalik didn't answer. He just whispered, "We don't." Back in the council chambers, a new message came through. One no one had expected. It was from Earth, not a video, not a voice. Just 6 words. "We are still watching, always." The chamber fell silent. One old ambassador finally said, "This is not a war anymore. It's a lesson." Kaivar stood slowly. A lesson in silence, and patience. Aboard one of Earth's ships in deep orbit, Commander Sira sat with her. "Squadron." They were quiet now. The battle was over. No more missiles, no more cloaking. Just a black sea of stars. She removed her helmet and looked at her crew. Young, tired, but proud. "Why didn't we finish them off?" One asked. Sira took a deep breath. "Because sometimes fear is more powerful than fire." They all nodded. On the outer edge of the galaxy, a rogue alien pirate ship, unaware of recent events, drifted toward Earth. Coordinates locked. The pirate captain grinned. Humans always carry something shiny. They entered the system. Scanners showed nothing dangerous. Then, everything stopped. Engines failed. Screens turned to black. A voice came through their speakers. Wrong time. Wrong place. They were never seen again. Back on Earth, Riker walked through a garden near the base. Real trees, real wind. Despite the silence in space, Earth itself was alive. Vera joined. Him holding a datapad. 5 more species have requested peace talks, she said. And 4 have offered technology exchanges. Riker smiled faintly. Now they remember us. Vera turned to him. "Do we accept?" He stopped walking. His voice was calm, but sharp. Only the ones who didn't laugh. Meanwhile, on the edge of the known galaxy, an old Terran research ship drifted into an uncharted system. Inside, a scientist stared at a new star, recently born. He recorded data, smiled. He had no idea that Earth had just shifted the balance of the galaxy. He was just doing what humans did best, looking, learning, dreaming. Back at the Galactic Council, High Speaker Kavar made one final announcement. Effective today, Earth shall be considered a sovereign power above equal. No system shall touch their space. No fleet shall threaten their world. A few argued. Most stayed silent. Kavar continued. They waited in silence. They struck in shadows, and they won without a word. From now on, we will remember that silence can be the loudest roar. Outside, the stars twinkled as usual, but everyone now knew they were being watched. Not all were afraid. Not all were ready to surrender. And in the dark corners of the galaxy, something ancient stirred. In a cold and forgotten sector near the edge of space, a creature opened its eyes. Deep beneath the surface of a dead world, it had been sleeping for centuries, watching, waiting, remembering. Its mind stretched across time. It had seen empires rise and collapse. It had watched the stars shift, and now it had seen the humans. At Earth's high command, General Riker stood inside the observation dome, overlooking Earth's moon. From this height, he could see some of the cloaked warships slowly returning to their hidden orbits. "They've gone quiet again," Admiral Vera said beside him. Riker nodded. "As planned, strike once, then disappear." Vera opened a small file on her pad. "But there's something else." She handed it to him. The screen showed deep space probes that had gone offline. 6 of them, all near one specific region. Sector V13, she said. No known civilizations, no known traffic, no signal at all? Riker asked. "Just silence," she said. Riker frowned. "I don't like silence anymore." Across the galaxy, a secret gathering took place. Inside a hollowed-out moon near the Galaxis Rim, 13 alien species met in shadows. Some were old enemies. Others had never spoken before. But today they had one shared thought. Humans must be stopped. "Do not speak," hissed the Krell ambassador. "They do not threaten, and still they destroy. They move like phantoms," growled a thick-skinned Trock. "Even the void fears them now. We must strike together," said a long-faced, silver-skinned diplomat. "Before it's too late." An ancient being in the back, wrapped in a silver cloak, finally spoke. "They have awakened the old ones." The room fell silent. No one asked what that meant. They all felt it. Something worse than war was coming. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Commander Sira stood atop a high platform in Earth's orbital training zone. Below her, hundreds of new pilots trained with silent intensity. "Most of you think the war is over," she said. "It's not." The room didn't move. They listened. "We didn't win because we were stronger. We won because we were smarter. Because we disappeared when they expected fire, and hit when they expected silence." One cadet raised his hand. "So what now?" Sira paused. Double quotes. Now ... "We prepare for something worse." In a hidden vault deep under Earth's crust, sealed behind codes only a few knew, Project Obsidian sat. Massive, dormant, cold, Earth's greatest weapon. One never used, one never tested. A ship the size of a small planet, built not to attack, but to end wars. It had one rule: break the sky only if the ground is lost. Riker walked past it in silence, reading the words engraved on the wall. Peace through shadow, strength through silence. In space, the creature moved again. It wasn't made of metal, or flesh, or even time. It was thought. It was hunger. It had no name, but the ancients called it the Hollow One. It didn't care for politics or fleets. It fed on fear, on silence, on minds too proud to bow. And Earth had whispered too loudly in the dark. It had heard them. Aboard the council station, High Speaker Kavar stood before his advisors. "They've found something," he said. "Something even the humans didn't wake intentionally." "What is it?" someone asked. Kavar's face darkened. "We don't know. But it's moving," he added. "And it's coming this way." On Earth, Vera stormed into the war room. "General, you need to see this." The screen lit up with data feeds from a long-range probe. What little remained of it. A blur. A shadow. Then nothing. But the energy signature it left behind was terrifying. "That's not a fleet," she whispered. "No," Riker said quietly. "That's a storm." He looked around the room. "Kenri may not be its target. It may be hungry for all of us." High above Earth, Sira's ship hovered just outside the atmosphere. She didn't know what was coming, but deep in her chest, in that place where instinct lived, she felt the old sensation again. The same one she felt before Earth's last war. Same one she felt before they decloaked their fleet. This time, it was stronger. And colder. She tightened her grip on the controls. "Ghost One," she said. "I think the galaxy just got darker." The galaxy was too quiet. Trade routes had gone dark. Communication relays flickered. Border worlds stopped answering. No explosions. No bodies. Just nothing. The Hollow One had begun to feed. Inside Earth's main war council chamber, the room was filled with voices from across the stars. Alien ambassadors, military leaders, scientists, all on one giant holographic call, begging for answers. "Entire planets are vanishing," said the feathered diplomat from Tellan Prime. "Our sun dimmed for 3 hours yesterday. Explain that." "Our fleets cannot track it," roared the insectoid general from Yarkan Hive. "We shoot into the dark. Nothing answers." "They didn't listen when we warned them," Riker said quietly to Vera. "Now they listen too late." Vera didn't smile. Her face was pale. Sir, this thing isn't an army. It's something else, something deeper. Riker looked at the galaxy map. Entire sectors were turning gray. Not conquered, consumed. Commander Sira flew alone through Earth's outer patrol zone. Her ship was silent, cloaked. Her eyes scanned the stars. Ghost One, said command in her. Here, be advised, 3 council fleets are rerouting to Earth. They want protection. Sarah didn't reply right away. Do they think Earth is a fortress? She asked finally. No, said command. They think it's the last light. Near the Orion Drift, a science vessel from the Nalo Collective sent one last transmission. Before going dark, this is Dr. Yara, reporting from the Eye of Discovery. We don't know what it is. It doesn't fly. It doesn't land. It just arrives. We tried to study it. We tried to speak. But it eats light. It eats thought. My crew is forgetting their names. I can't feel the signal ended. At Earth's orbit station, fleets began to arrive. Ships of every shape, color, and race gathered near Earth. Some small, some massive, all damaged, all silent. They hovered near the humans, as if being close meant being safe. Riker stood before the display of all the incoming vessels. They mocked us, he said. Now they want shelter under our guns. Vera looked at him. Do we give? He was quiet for a long time. Then, yes, because if we don't, this thing will be the end of everything. Down below, civilians on Earth watched as the sky filled again, not with war, but with fear. Children pointed at alien ships hovering above cities. People whispered in streets, stared at the broadcasts, wondered if the stories were true. In schools, teachers told students, the humans didn't become monsters. They became shields. Sira was called back to high orbit. She landed on the carrier Horizon Fang, where she met with officers from other species. They looked at her with something strange in their eyes. Not fear, not hate, something new. Respect. An alien captain, a gray-skinned being with 4 eyes, stepped forward. I saw your ships move through our fleet like smoke. I saw what your people did in silence. Sira gave a small nod. We've always known what the stars could hold. Why didn't you lead sooner? He asked. Sira looked out the window. Because we didn't want to. On the edge of the solar system, Earth's most powerful listening station, Station Echo Black, picked up a signal. Not words, not sound, a feeling, pain, loss, hunger. AI monitoring the signal crashed. The station's power grid fried. But before it died, it sent one last phrase back to Earth. It knows who you are. Project Obsidian stirred. Buried beneath Earth's core, the colossal weapon half-machine, half-code slowly powered up. It had remained asleep for years. Now, it pulsed with light. The final defense, built not to fight ships, but to fight. The unknown. Riker stood before the ignition terminal, his hand over the key panel. If this goes live, Vera said beside him, it'll change everything. Riker stared forward. So will this thing. At the Galactic Council, now exiled. To a temporary station near Vega, chaos spread. Some called for surrender to the Hollow One. Others wanted to flee. Some even blamed humans for waking it. But none offered a plan until Kavar spoke. There is one world that is still standing. One people who hid in the dark and became stronger than any of us. He looked at the stars. Let Earth lead now, or none of us will live to regret it. Back on the Horizon Fang, Sira suited up again. Her mission, scout the place where the stars were dying. She walked to her ship, alone as hundreds of aliens watched. A soft murmur passed among them. One word. Human. Not as an insult, but as a hope. Climbed in, sealed her helmet, and whispered to herself, let's see what kind of monster wakes the monsters. Asterisk, The alien command center was in chaos. Warning lights flashed red across every screen. The once proud generals of the Karzari Dominion, who had mocked Earth as backward and primitive, were now frozen in disbelief. The largest armada in known history had just come out of hyperspace, and it was human dot from the blackness of space. The Earth fleet had arrived in full force. Carriers, destroyers, and stealth cruisers stretched across the galactic horizon. Their sheer numbers were impossible to count. The stars themselves seemed to vanish beneath the metal wings of Earth's. Warships. General Sorvak, once so confident in Karzari superiority, now stumbled back from the screen. This can't be right. Where did they even build this fleet? One of his officers whispered in a trembling voice, "It's not just size. Their tech, it's decades beyond ours." He was right. The Karzari's sensors showed the impossible ships with undetectable energy signatures, weapon systems that charged silently, and hulls made from unknown materials that reflected all scans. No race had ever developed technology this advanced in so little time. But humans had. Back on the human flagship Eclipse Prime, Commander Ilara Khan stood calmly on the bridge, her voice steady as she addressed the entire galaxy's open channel. "You called us just humans. You mocked us, invaded us, experimented on our people, and stole our worlds. You thought we would stay silent. You thought we were weak. You were wrong." Her message echoed across every system. Millions heard. Her. Billions watched Dot, and then Earth's fleet moved, but they didn't fire. Instead, the entire formation hovered just outside the borders of the Karzari Dominion, silently demonstrating their power. It wasn't an attack. It was a warning, a final one. Alara's voice came again. "We are not here to conquer. We are here to end the cycle. We're not asking for peace. We're enforcing it." The Karzari High Council surrendered without a single shot fired. They knew this was not the same humanity they had bullied and enslaved. This was a new force, a united, angry, and evolved version of the species they had once considered beneath notice. Dot in the days that followed, something strange happened. Systems long oppressed by the Karzari began rising up, inspired by humanity's stand. The word human became a symbol, not of weakness, but of unstoppable defiance. No longer would they be just humans. They were the ones who blocked out the stars, and the galaxy would never forget it. Asterisk